What does pornography, the Holy Grail, and alien implants have in common? I'm not sure. We should probably stay tuned and find out. You're listening to episode 36 of Our Different Take. Hello there, and welcome everyone to Our Different Take. My name is Brian, proud father of two awesome boys, a Jedi podcaster. This is the way. And to my left is Scott. Welcome, Scott.
Welcome back. Does anybody remember that show anymore? Welcome back, Cotter.
Probably just a few of us.
Welcome back, Scotter.
Mm-hmm.
Scott is from the Republic of Texas. I'm interested in conspiracy theories, which really should be called conspiracy facts. Let's just be straight with it. Most of them aren't even theories anymore. Anyway, conspiracy theories, the paranormal, the spiritual, alternative health, and most other things that the government tells us to ignore.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, it pretty much is anymore. Yeah,
Wow.
pretty much. Yeah, tells us not to think.
Well, we ain't having none of that around
No,
here on this podcast.
I ain't gonna go there.
Word. Well, all right. So last week we talked about a little bit of the Vatican and some Pope action and stuff like that. This week is kind of a part 2, and we're going to talk about the Vatican, some of the history, some of the secrets surrounding it, archives, and generally what's going on with the Vatican that you might not know.
And this is gonna not even scratch the surface on all of the stuff that is in the Vatican, and it's about, because there's just so much. I mean, hell, the church, hell. I said hell.
Oh, geez.
I said hell when we're talking about the Vatican. That's
Great. A good start.
Inappropriate cuss word.
Yes.
Heck.
Mm-hmm.
Heck.
Golly
gee. The church has been around since 2,000 years. So, I mean, there's a lot there, and there's been a whole lot of popes, and there's just a lot going on there. Plus, the Catholic Church is not just a religion. It's a political hierarchy. So you have politics and religion and history, all kinds of stuff going on in there.
Well, all right. So here's a question. So you got one guy who's a pope, but if you have more than one pope, are they called popes? What's a plural pope? Popeye? Popu?
What is it? I don't know. I guess
it's a plural pope.
I guess popes, huh?
Popes. It doesn't sound right though, but
no, it really doesn't.
Yeah. Well, the pope is priest is priests, right?
That's really hard to say also.
Priests. Isn't it? Yeah, it is hard to say, actually. Well, if someone knows the answer to that, please call our hotline, for the love of God. Please call it.
Maybe it's like moose or deer. When you say pope, it's like,
it could be
pope
either
is singular or plural.
That's true. Yeah.
Look at all those pope. Or really, I guess there's only one at a time, though, isn't there? Is there a plural of pope?
Well, maybe you don't need it. There's only one pope ever?
Well, at a time, yeah.
At a time. Well, you probably don't need a plural word for pope then.
I guess unless you're talking about all of the pope that has been around. Why does anybody listen to us?
Hey, come back. If you try to shut us off, we're going to move on. So don't. Just stick with this.
All right.
Well, the official name of the Vatican. I'm going to let you handle this one, Scott.
All right. I'm going to do my best on this. Archivum Secretum Apostolicum Vaticanum. Why does everything Latin have to end in
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sounded like, when I was saying that, it sounded like I should be doing some sort of a incantation or something, though, didn't it?
It does. I
Regiblum
mean,
secretum apostolacum Vaticanum.
you might, you might end
Something
up,
just.
yeah, getting some kind of demon, a secretion demon.
Oh wow, man,
That's
that's
the worst
gross.
type. You don't ever want
Ew.
that.
No, no,
I had a buddy who did that, who had a secretion demon once.
really.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't go
Did
into
he
it.
go to the doctor for that, or what?
Mm-mm.
What did he put him on some antibiotics?
Well, he just had to rub some stuff on it.
All right. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're off to a start here. Uh,
Uh, okay.
well, the Vatican was constructed,
I don't think that number
you
that's in the
know,
notes
in
is
the year
correct.
16,512.
I,
Did I, is that a
I don't think
typo?
that's right. I'm not sure what it is, but it's not 16,512.
Wow. Here, hold on a second. Let me.
Uh,
Oh, there you go.
maybe 1651.
Probably. There's a good
That
chance.
sounds a little bit better.
It was constructed in 1651 by Pope Paul V, and he did it all by himself. Yeah,
Really, kind of like Bishop's Castle.
exactly. Yeah, but this Pope Paul he was a masonry, not a mason, but he knew. Anyway, we'll just keep going. So,
Okay, so how many entrances are there to the Vatican?
there's one entrance only, and it is heavily guarded. You cannot get in. You can't get
Heavily
in.
guarded by whom?
Swiss.
The Swiss? Do they have their little Swiss Army knives and
Hmm.
stuff? Do they like pull out a little corkscrew and what? I can't even. What do you like? At least with the Swedes, you can be all like bork bork. How do you do Swiss?
Oh, Swiss. Hmm.
I don't even know what language they speak in Switzerland. What is that?
Oh boy, I'm unprepared to answer those
Oh
questions at
man,
this time. The Swiss. I don't know what they speak. Otherwise, we
I
could
don't
try to
know.
do a Swiss accent right now.
Right? But I mean, the only Swiss thing I'm aware of is cheese.
And the knife.
But hey, get this: the Swiss guard the Vatican. Swiss cheese is holy.
Whoa,
Huh?
that is deep.
That coincidence? I think not.
Mm-mm. Nope. All right, update. I just got this from our newsroom. Thank you very much for that.
Yes,
Switzerland actually has four national languages:
four.
German, French, Italian, and Romansh.
Romanche?
Romansh. Romansh.
Never heard of it.
I haven't either. So I guess you just kind of pick which one you want to speak.
Hmm. That's no fun.
No, there's a Swiss German. It's called Schweizerdeutsch. Switzer. That's something else. Hold on a minute. I'm looking at the wrong webpage. Yeah.
If you're at home, don't Google that.
Do not do the Schweizerdeutsch. Yeah, but one entrance, heavily guarded. But get
Heavily
this,
guarded
hmm?
by the Swiss.
Guarded by
Okay.
the Swiss. But there are 50 miles of shelving in the archives.
That is
50
insane.
miles. You know how many books and stuff you can put on that?
That is a lot of books. And you figure that the bookshelves are probably several levels high.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that they're counting the several levels when they're doing the 50 mile. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. Regardless, that's a lot either way.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom, like in one building, 50 miles of shelves. If you want to go in there and if you're lucky enough to get in there and look for a document, you can only retrieve 3 documents. But first of all, you have to get this thick, massive catalog that's written in Latin or Italian. And then you can only pick 3 documents out of that catalog to look at. So they don't let you
Hmm.
roam free. They don't.
They don't let you roam free, do they?
Whoa, I didn't even plan that one.
Oh,
That was
wow.
good. Good work.
Hmm.
But you can only pick those right there. And if you are undecided on what you're going to do, what you want to look at, there's only a certain amount of time that you have to pick what you want to look at. If you don't have it, you're out.
I mean, that kinda makes sense if you're literally dealing with books that are some of them 4 or 500 years old.
Hmm.
I mean, you look at what these yutzes do in the national parks, you know? "Yeah, my name is Steve. I'm gonna write it on the rock walls," you know? It's like these idiots with their little spray paint and rocks and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, if they'll do that there, what would they do to, these priceless books and stuff from 500 years ago? It makes sense.
Right. Well, what's weird though is if you can't decide one day, then you can go back and try again the following day. Materials in the archive are only released for public viewing after 75 years. And in fact, I think what I read also that the Pfizer vaccine information is in the archives because that is not going to be released for 75 years either. Just reporting. Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, did you hear that they changed that? Some court said, no, 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 75 years is a little too long. You got about a year and a half.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah, serious. That
Well,
happened.
good for them.
Right?
75 years? Give me a freaking break. Seriously?
I mean, I guess the government kind of does something like that too, though, don't they? With classified documents, like they just isn't it like 60 years for the
It
government?
is. And also, that's done actually with certain type of music too. So this year, I was reading they released music between, or it's public use music now, which it even includes Bambi,
Really?
the movie, and the book. And apparently, the original book from Bambi is super dark. Not the Bambi you see in Disney, but what the Disney movie was patterned after. Apparently, it's really dark.
Kind of like Grimm's fairy tales, right?
Yeah,
Those the children's version that Disney did seemed like really cheery and stuff, but when you look at the original stuff, it's like, man, this is dark.
yeah, it's true. But that's public domain now. So even if you
How about
wanted
that?
to write something off of that Bambi, it's open. You could do it, and you can make money off of it if you wanted to.
So, like, this seems so weird to say this, but the Beatles music is coming up on 75 years, right? It's 60, some of it, 60, 62 years.
Ooh, hmm,
Would that be public domain as well?
that's a good question.
You know what? If even if it is public domain, though, people should just let it be.
Yeah, boy, that's nice. That's good. Some quality stuff tonight, right there. that's,
Uh,
that's good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge Beatles fan anyway.
you serious?
Yeah,
How can you not like the Beatles?
it's just lame.
What?
Serious.
The kings of rock and roll, the ones who invented it all, who took us there, is lame?
They can just because someone invents something doesn't mean it's the best. Like the first wheel, I wouldn't want that wheel on my car. It's probably made of stone and it'd fall off.
Oh, come on, man. You got to give him. Now, granted, if you've listened to Paul McCartney lately, it's like, yeah, you should have stopped, guy. You should have stopped. But come on, back in the day, Octopus's Garden, and I mean, it's all great stuff. The Tax Man.
The tax man.
Oh yeah, it's a great piece.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, you can't believe you don't like the
yeah,
Beatles.
no. Maybe if I
Sheesh.
was born back then when there was like n- no real guitars and all that stuff. And
No real guitars. Why? While my guitar gently weeps.
I sent hate
Seriously,
mail on it,
that's
but that's,
that's an amazing guitar solo. Come on.
yeah, I don't remember hearing it. Sorry.
I don't even know you. What is this? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Off the Beatles.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that later. What are some of the contents? You want to go? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Yes. So, just one of the things that I watched on it. They've apparently opened this up to the public, but that's just been very recently that they've done that. Before, you kind of had to have a special invite, and you got that through, doing favors. You worked for the government, and the government did a little favor for the Vatican, and the Vatican says, okay, we'll kind of give you this favor in return. You can get back into our archives and see what you want to see. And because it was so secretive, a lot of people thought, well, there's all kinds of stuff down there. They have all these evidences of everything down there, and you really couldn't prove it because you couldn't go in there. I guess you still really can't unless you speak Latin or Italian, and even then, if you're only allowed to do three things at a time, you really aren't going to be able to see a whole lot.
Right.
And even then, I guess if you just because you have a book of something doesn't make it true, right?
True, because I read somewhere also that you have to tell them like what part of the book or whatever you want to look at, and I don't know how you'd figure that out, but you have to be pretty specific.
Yeah, how would you even know if you haven't seen the book?
Yeah, it's a good question.
And then I heard that there's all kinds of stuff that's still locked behind gated walls, like the stuff on World War II.
Mm,
You can't even get to it. I guess that's probably because it hadn't been 75 years yet. But you still can't get to that part. So there's a lot of stuff that people have said, hey, yeah, they got a lot of information about aliens in there and spacecraft and all kinds of stuff. One guy that I was watching, he worked for a defense contractor, U.S. Navy or Air Force, and they had found a spacecraft, and it was one that they hadn't seen before. And they're like, well, we need to find out if there's anybody that has any idea what this stuff is. We don't have any idea what this thing is. And so somebody's like, well, go to the Vatican. They got all kinds of stuff on spacecraft. And so the guy went to the Vatican and they let him in. And well,
there, do you have a cat over there? You dying?
so so when they let him in, the guy's like, yeah, yeah, here's kind of a drawing of what we found. Do you have anything on it? And the guy's like, yeah, yeah, we have a book on that. And apparently this particular spacecraft was one that it showed up in some ancient literature, and it looked exactly like the one that the Air Force had found. They apparently have all kinds of stuff on these things. um, why they haven't come forward about it and talked about it before, I don't know. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Why that kind of stuff would be kept under wraps.
Well, did you read anywhere also that they might have like an actual ship in there somewhere as well?
I thought that initially that's what the guy was saying that went down there, but upon listening to him again, it almost sounds like maybe maybe I misunderstood. Maybe that was just books on that kind of stuff. But I thought that I heard him say that there were actual artifacts, like alien
Hmm.
artifacts down there. Well, matter of fact, I know he said that there were some because he said some of them were like glowing and stuff. So I know that they had some artifacts, or at least that's what the guy said. So you got to take somebody's word for it unless you can actually go down and look, and you can't. So, thus, how conspiracy theories are
Right.
born, right? You have somebody comes in and tells a story, and then if they sound believable, then people start believing it and propagating it, and next thing you know, you get all these theories about what's down there, and it may or may not be true.
Well, so some of this stuff it has to be donated to the Vatican, right? I
Oh
mean,
wow, yeah,
and why, if someone's going to donate an alien head, why would they think, well, I guess I'd rather give this to the Catholic Church than anyone else,
good good question. That's a very good point. You would think maybe it's the Smithsonian or something like that, not the Vatican. Why
right? Doesn't that
why
seem
would they do
odd?
that? It does. It does. But the Vatican is very, very powerful. I mean, how many Catholics are there in the world? Like a billion? And the Vatican has a lot of power. I mean, it's to my knowledge the only religion that actually has a central head like that, right? Yeah, what other religion does?
Does Muslim?
I don't even think the Muslims do.
Hmm.
I could be
Mormons?
wrong on that. If you're Muslim or know, if you know Muslims, and you know about that, you know that there's like a central hierarchy, and there's a top Muslim somewhere in the world. But I don't think there is. As far as I know, it's fragmented, just like everybody else. You get these imams that have their own little followings, and some of them are pretty big followings. But to my knowledge, there's not the grand poobah
Hmm.
imam like the Pope. So I mean, it's probably the most powerful and wealthiest religion on the planet.
Yeah. Well, hold on, our stat team.
I'm
Yeah, go
guessing.
ahead. Thank you. Well, this just in as well. The Catholic,
Mm,
there are 1.2 billion Roman Catholics in the world.
wow,
Yeah, 16% of the world's population is Catholic.
that's a
Yeah, that's
lot.
a lot. So they've got a lot of, yeah, you're right. They do have a lot of power. And as we get further into this, you'll see that, there's probably at least a conspiracy theory as to who's all behind this.
Hmm. All right. Well, so what
Well,
else? What do we
we've
got?
got some of the archives contain correspondence between St. Paul and Emperor Nero. And what some people are saying are these correspondence letters between these guys pertain to Jesus' existence, but they're hiding proof that Jesus did not exist. So I don't know what kind of correspondence or if it's a lengthy correspondence, but
Hiding
hiding
proof.
proof that Jesus did not exist.
Okay, so just playing devil's advocate here. How can you prove that Jesus did not exist?
Well, I'd be able to answer that if I could get to the Vatican.
Yeah, well, and if you
Yeah,
spoke Latin, or well, I guess if it's correspondence between Saint Paul, it would have to be what, Greek,
Greek
right?
Emperor Nero. I mean, they wouldn't want that proof to get out, or there goes the church.
But looks like the next thing. Okay, so you also have written down here that the archives contain evidence that the Pope is conspiring with aliens to implant us all with computer chips.
Correct.
Okay, then. So there's a lot to unpack there.
There is.
The archives contain evidence that the Pope is conspiring with aliens to implant us all with computer chips. I have so many questions. Um, so many questions on that. So, how old are these documents? Why is the Pope involved? Why are the aliens speaking with the Pope specifically and nobody else? And why is he conspiring to implant us all with computer chips? What are they going to do with those computer chips? And why computer chips? And if this stuff is old, uh, computer chips didn't even exist, right? I guess maybe they did in alien
They might have.
civilizations.
Excuse me. Yeah, they might have when the aliens came down and showed the Pope they've got computers, a computer
Hmm.
chip.
I'd kind of like to be implanted with a potato chip right now.
Ooh,
I'm kind of hungry.
me too. Like a Lay's potato chip.
Nobody can eat just one of
That's
those.
true. I'm gonna skip ahead real quick. People think the Illuminati; those are the people who run the archives and all this. So if you look at all the conspiracies we're talking about here under the umbrella of the Illuminati, then all of a sudden the computer chip implants and the magical texts that pertain to the existence of magic and demons, Jesus did not exist. All that sort of falls into place and makes a little more sense if you see that the Illuminati is running it all and the one world order, and that fits into that scheme. So it makes a little more sense, under the guise of the Illuminati anyway.
So, I mean, if that's the case, though, then that would indicate that the heads of the Catholic Church are indeed trying to deceive people. Is that what we're saying here? Because the religion is at odds with the fabled Illuminati. right? If you read about the Illuminati stuff, it's a religion for sure, but it's certainly not Christianity. It has elements of Christianity, but it also has a lot of elements of the occult and devil worship and stuff in there.
Yeah, so I think you're right. So the Vatican has, let's assume all this is true. So the Vatican has proof of the existence of magic and demons. They can prove that there was no Jesus, so that takes away people's faith in that. And then we're going to implant people with computer chips to track them. It all fits into a kind of what you think of the Illuminati, who wants to control everything. And they're taking away people. When you take away people's faith, what do they need to believe in? Well, and also I didn't really put this in here because this is like a whole nother podcast. You've got pictures of the Vatican's Hell Hall. Have you seen that?
I have
Holy
seen that.
moly.
Yeah.
Seriously. I didn't put it in here because there's too much to unpack, but if you take all these specifics we're talking about and you lay them at the feet of the Hell Hall crucifixion scene, then it fits. Listeners, if you haven't done much research or looked at the Vatican's Hell Hall, just take a look at it. It's crazy. I mean, it doesn't seem like it fits in the Catholic.
What do you think is so strange about that? I'm going to pull it up right here
Well,
while
all
we're
right, just
talking.
so the building itself, when you look at it from the outside and from the inside, from the outside, it's shaped like a snake's head. There are glass windows on each side of the building, like right where a snake's eyes are. And you look at it from the inside, it looks like you are looking at a snake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm seeing the pictures. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
creepy.
the wall that's behind where the Pope talks has a pic. It's not a picture. It's like I don't know if a guy like chiseled out of
Oh, it's a
wood or
huge
something, or a
sculpture.
sculpture, I guess maybe.
It's a massive sculpture. Good
Yeah, it's
grief.
gigantic, and it looks like Jesus is like battling his way out of hell because there's like skulls everywhere. It looks like a picture out of hell. And then if you look at Jesus's face, like there's an elongated ectoplasm something coming out of his head that's shooting off to one side too. So, but there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, we'd be happy to turn that into a different episode because there's so much there, and it's unnerving to look at that thing. To have the Pope, which represents 1.3 billion Catholics, standing in front of that. Not to offend anyone, but it seems like that background belongs in the middle of a séance or something, and not necessarily behind the Pope.
You know what it kind of reminds me of?
Mm.
Denver International
Oh boy.
Airport. there's a, there's another conspiracy theory that goes with that one,
Right.
but yeah, the DIA is a weird
Mm-hmm.
airport. It's got art that kind of reminds me of some of this stuff
Mm.
here. Some weird ass stuff up at DIA.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, take a look at that and let us know what you think.
Yeah. This is strange. I guess probably a lot of people have been to the Vatican. I'm assuming. So probably a lot of people listening have actually probably seen this. I guess. Can you go in there?
I think you can. Yeah.
Looks like there's it looks like a big place that you can sit, like where they can give sermons and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
I think it
So I
happens.
guess they would probably
I'm
let
pretty
you in
sure
there.
you can. Yeah.
Hmm.
But that's something to definitely that we can get into because if you've played the game Doom, this would fit
Hmm.
in that game perfect.
Yeah, sure
Yeah,
would.
that would be
Sure would.
perfect.
Yeah. So they're going to implant us with computer chips.
Hmm.
And what else? What else is going on in this place?
You could let's say we got computer chips in us now. We know there's demons. Jesus does not exist. So why not throw some like the world's largest collection of pornography in there?
Seriously, right?
Seriously. So the archives apparently are home to the largest collection of pornography. So this was Copenhagen's Museum of Erotica confirmed this. I don't have specifics that how they confirmed it. Maybe they were part of. Maybe they donated something rubber to it.
Wait a minute. something about secretum. What was it?
Secretum dildois.
So okay, I get a good question here. Largest collection of pornography? Like, are we talking about Hustler and Penthouse, or are we talking about like some weird artist back in the 1600s that was painting, a Mona Lisa, doing somebody, right? I mean,
Well,
is it actual like real porn, or is it just like not? Like, is it just some painting that you would look at and go, "Ooh, that's a fine collection of art. I like the way that." I can't even say what I'm wanting to say on here because it'll be recorded forever. So,
go down in history.
go go down in
Right.
history. Go down on history.
Yeah, I don't know what types. I mean, there's some websites like Snopes that says that this is false. It's a rumor that's dated back hundreds of years based upon some of the drawings by Michelangelo and his phallic fantasies. They say that there's pictures, films, some artifacts in there, quote unquote, other weird little things. I don't understand
Films,
that
huh?
sentence myself, but some people might be able to associate some things with that. Just
I wouldn't know what they're
I know if
talking
someone
about.
knows what that means, please let us know because we've never seen those words strung together like that before.
I'm not a pervert like that. I've never seen anything
Right.
like that.
Yeah, me neither.
So that's so weird. Why would they even have that? And I guess though, if that's true, right, then you can be one of those people that's like, I'd like to see the eroticus dickus. Oh, what is it like the old Monty Python? Bickus dickus.
Right? There's nothing
I
better
mean,
than
what?
seeing some boobs drawn on some stone tablets.
I mean, I really want to know. And now I'm so curious. Is that what it is? Because that's, I mean, I'm not. That's not porn. All
No.
right, it's just not.
Mm-mm.
It's not. It's just art.
Right.
But I suppose I guess it depends on what they're painting, like cave drawings or something of
Wait. Wait. Did people in caves have like spring beds that did that? Or what was that noise?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did. You know that they had people in caves had sex, or else we wouldn't be here,
That's true.
right? Cavemen had to. Now they probably didn't have the squeaky beds, but I don't know. Maybe it's straw. That just this doesn't have the same ring to it. Doing that.
No. Back then, I bet you it was just erotic, anything about it. It was just stinky and dirty and that. When you never take a shower,
Oh
you
yeah,
probably got
gross.
like chia pet growing down.
Ew, ew. The weird thing about that, to think
Mm,
about stuff like that, is back in the day, so many houses had like one room, but there was like 6 or 10
mm,
kids, right?
yeah.
And so, mom and dad are like, hey, it's time to get busy. And they're all stinky and nasty to begin with. But then, like, the kids are going, what you doing there, Pops?
Yeah. Like you're talking about the
Ew.
cavemen days where there's only like one cave in the room in the cave, whatever.
Well, not even just the cavemen days, but, looking at some of the stuff that was just a couple thousand years ago, you look at these houses and it's like, they didn't have a room for each kid,
Right.
right? He had a sleeping room. And so if you're gonna get busy with the missus, all the kids are going, "Oh man, really again, pops?"
Well, probably they're
and they're just watching, and they're taking it all in, right?
They
It's
probably they probably
nasty.
went on a walk or something, or went to go hunt a deer or to do something, and then just found some leaves and laid down in them. That's something like Little House on the Prairie, right? I mean, surely.
Well, Little House on the Prairie, they slept in, twin beds, didn't they? Separate.
Oh, oh yeah, like all those old TV shows where they couldn't sleep in the same bed. They're all married. God forbid.
I don't know how we had Laura and
Right.
yeah, I don't well, they slept in the leaves. You just
Yeah.
explained all
There.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
Huh.
That's it.
Okay.
But but on the Vatican, apparently the priests are the only ones that get to view the collection of erotica.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Did you just
Mm-mm.
make that up, or is
No,
this
according to
actually true?
Snopes, that's true.
According to
Yeah.
Snopes. I thought Snopes said it doesn't exist.
Well, if it did,
If
then
it
the
did,
priests are
then
the
the
only one
priests are the
that'll
only
get to
ones that
see
get to
it,
see
right?
it.
Because priests can't have sex
I
anyway. So
mean,
I mean, you might as well
yeah.
have some magazine laying around.
Now wait a minute. Who said the priest
Well,
can't
priests
have
can't have
sex?
sex, right?
No, they can't be married.
So can priests not be married and have sex?
I don't know. I mean, apparently they can look at erotica.
Yeah, but that's only having
Why else would it
sex
be in the
with yourself.
Vatican?
That's not having sex with with a woman. Because they can't have sex with a woman, right?
I mean, God, there's so many things that
Man, we got a lot of tangents going
that are
on.
coming to my mind right now that I can't say.
Well, okay, so thank goodness we have this. We hired this team to bring stats to us all the time.
I appreciate
Yeah,
the
because
crack
it is.
reporting.
Well, no pun intended with that one. Is that what that was? Whew, man, that was good. Okay, so
We're
we're
having a ball here tonight.
subject's going to be hard to get a hand around. Okay, according to the National Catholic Reporter, April
Okay.
28th, 2010. Oh, this is a long article, though. Can't you give me something shorter? Yes.
It's all they can get up.
Ooh, where are we going with this?
I don't even know. It's
It
gone down a
has.
bad path. So are they
It
allowed to have
says
sex or not?
the Council of Ancria, ANCYRA, Ancria, demanded strict penalties if there was a Catholic priest that had sex, which includes solitary confinement, fast isolation, and supervision for any cleric caught having sex with a minor. Supervision? So you have sex with a minor and all you got to do is have supervision?
So if you have sex, all you got to do is just kind of pay penance, basically, right? So you could probably
Well, there's
do it.
strict penalties. I mean, the supervision's crazy strict. But it says now Roman Catholic priests are now mandated to make a promise or
Uh,
vow of celibacy before they can be ordained. Clerical celibacy precludes absolutely any willful sexual release.
well, you can't even jerk off.
I would I would take that. That's what that means. You can't have a sexual release.
Oh, how terrible!
Yeah.
So what happens if you have like a wet dream?
Well, that's not your fault. Hmm.
I mean, but is it not your fault because like dreams are stuff that you're thinking
Hmm.
about, right? Before you go to
Well,
bed, is that like a
well, that's a
sin?
good point right there.
Do you have to go to
If you
confession?
have a wet dream, yeah, probably, sure.
That's
So
harsh.
if you go to confession and you tell the priest that you had a one wet dream, I mean, what's your penance? Like 5 Hail Marys,
I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I mean, but can you imagine having to listen to stuff like that all the time?
right?
I mean, how hard would that be? And no pun
Right.
intended. Hard would that be to listen to that kind of stuff over and over again? Because I mean, how many sins are there really that people are going to go to confession for? That's a big one. That's what she said.
What? The wet dream one is a big one.
No,
The
just the
sex
the
thing.
the confession about
Mm,
sex, right? That's going to be, and if you're a priest, you got to be listening to
right.
stuff like that all the time, right? Because like you're gonna, I had a thought about anger or whatever. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. But the big ones that everybody's going to be going to confession for, I had sex with somebody I shouldn't have, or whatever. You're going to be hearing about that all the time, and people will go into lurid details. I'm just guessing because that's what will absolve your mind, right? To get it all out,
True.
to say it. Can you imagine if you're not allowed to do that and you're hearing it, you're hearing people talk about it every day? Oh, that'd be rough.
Maybe they have different time frames, like so, and different priests do different types of confession. So, from 8 to 10 in the morning is animal abuse hours, and 10 to noon is sexual problems,
All right, Ralph, it's your
right?
turn.
And then you get a
Uh,
priest in there that is
uh,
an expert in that area. I mean, that only makes sense.
I just listened to all the people talking about the chickens that they choked.
Wait a minute.
Wait
So
a
that's
minute,
10 to
is that
12. That's
animal?
not an 8 to 10. That's 10 to 12.
Yeah. I guess that one could go
That
either way,
overlaps,
couldn't
actually.
it?
That overlaps. Well, all right. So they're also saying that
Uh,
before a guy becomes a priest, he has a lot of time to consider that he's never going to have sex ever. So they have to go through anywhere from 5 to 13 years of preparation. So you go to seminary school, you learn human, spiritual, academic, pastoral aspects of Catholicism. Then you're a trainee. Then you spend 6 months to a year as an ordained deacon under a priest.
so during this preparatory time, are you allowed to have sex then?
Well, technically, you're not a priest. You're like prepping for it. So maybe you just go to town as much as you can. Well, no, it says you're preparing for it. And so you have to consider like if you can handle it.
How does one prepare to not have sex?
Mm, it'd probably just be mentally. All right. So if you're
Uh,
going into
I
you're going
just
to go be a
can't.
priest, and then if
Yeah.
you've never had sex, easy street. I mean, you never had it. You don't know what you're missing, right? If you never had a steak, you don't know what you're missing. So if you never have steak anymore in your life, well, you don't know what you're missing. It's okay.
Yeah, but have you ever driven past a great barbecue
Hmm.
restaurant? You smell that smoky smell in the air, that smoked meat. Even if you're a vegan,
It's
you gotta
true.
love that.
But maybe it'd be easier. It might be easier, going into this if you've never had sex at all or experienced that versus going into it, after, 25 orgies.
Okay, so you've never had sex, but then you go into the archives and you see the largest collection of
Oh, yeah.
erotica
Yeah.
on the planet.
That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all.
It really
No,
doesn't.
it's like
I don't
you're,
know. Maybe like Pornhub, did they just like take that out of the
there's a
archives?
good chance.
Thou doth put thy, no, God, I can't. There's so much I want to say, but I
Well, if
can't.
there's pornography in the Vatican, then it must be okay to release yourself in order to not have sex.
How torturous would that be to like not be able to do that legally or morally or ethically or whatever it is? To like, here, look at this. Okay, now don't do anything about it. It's awful.
Maybe they're trained like some of those monks, where they can hold their breath forever and mind over matter, where they could walk through fire. Then you don't spank the monkey. It's all in some realm, isn't it?
Or maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they walk through the
Pretty
fire.
pretty sure I saw that on Ripley's Believe It or Not once. Hmm.
Okay. Oh man, we've really gone down a
Well, we
bad
have
path
lots of
here.
questions that need
Um,
to be answered. So,
we
yeah,
do have many questions, many, many questions, and I don't
no.
understand. I really don't.
Okay.
Um,
This next one's even more weird, if you can believe it. And actually, I had never heard this until I started researching all this. Have you ever heard of the
mhm.
chronovisor?
I think I have read something about that once. But go ahead, please. Do tell.
Well,
What is the chronovisor? It sounds like a
like
song from the 70s. Mama, don't take my chronovisor
it's probably a Beatles
away.
song,
Hey.
probably their banjo or whatever. Well, chrono. It was
So
built by an
what's the
Italian
chronovisor?
priest slash scientist, which Catholics seem to like, right? You can be a priest and an astronomer, priest and a scientist. But this guy's name was Father Pellegrino Maria Ernetti. So he wanted to record evidence of Christ's crucifixion. So apparently, this machine allows its users to view past and present events. So like it doesn't like transform you there. It's not like a time machine that takes your entire body and moves it there. You can view it like a viewfinder, something like that. Um, no one has really seen this other than some basic drawings and stuff like that. But they believe that its most likely resting place is the archives.
All right, so I just gotta admit, when I'm hearing you talk about this, what comes to mind is Napoleon Dynamite and the time machine.
Oh, geez.
Where he's hooking up the electrodes to his nads, right? He's like,
Oh,
it
jeez.
doesn't work.
Oh, man. Well, if we haven't offended every Catholic so far with this podcast, we have now. So we apologize.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we have, but I mean, that would be super cool if that chronovisor thing actually worked. I mean, can you imagine? Like, you could go back in time and see the dinosaurs, and I
that
mean,
would
how
be very
cool would
cool
that
if
be?
they could make that work somehow. But
I'm just having a hard time believing that number one, it's there, and number two, it works.
again, there wasn't a lot. I mean, it explained what it would do. It gave some basic drawings of what it would look like, but I mean, the drawings that I saw really wouldn't explain anything. It looked like a sixth grader drawing boxes on a paper, right? So it wasn't anything complicated or whatever. So I don't remember what year this thing was apparently made either.
It seemed like I remember it's like 150
Yeah.
years
So
ago, right?
150 years ago, where you don't have much technology, how are you going to build a chronovisor where you can view past and future events with a rock? And Nikola Tesla wasn't here building it. Anyway, it's interesting concept.
It really is, and I wish that it really
Hmm.
worked and that I
Yeah,
had it. But
right.
yeah, I don't believe it. I don't know if I believe that there's the largest collection of pornography in the
Yeah, that's
Vatican
hard to believe
either,
too.
but it's interesting to
It
think
really
about.
is. It just doesn't make sense. What else? Is there anything else? What else
It
you got?
doesn't. Uh, it's evidence of the Ark of the Covenant. That would be cool also, like Indiana
Hmm.
Jones was looking for that. That would be super cool to find
Yeah,
the Ark of the Covenant.
yeah, I would. That I could believe that.
I could I could too, and I mean, I don't know why they haven't found it already, really.
It's got to be somewhere. I'm sure someone has it somewhere.
Because I mean, it's mentioned all over in the Bible, and like all kinds of stuff that's in the Bible is like they know where it is. I mean, it's not like there's any secret about where the Jews lived, right? I mean, it's they know all of that. So I don't know why they haven't found the Ark of the Covenant. It seems like that they have, but if they did, you would think that the Catholic Church would be shouting it from the rooftops rather than putting it
Hmm.
down in the archives.
Right.
But it's not saying that they have the actual Ark of the Covenant,
Evidence
right?
of it.
Just evidence of it,
That leaves it open to a ton of stuff either. Also, is there a picture? I
right?
mean, what would be evidence of the Ark of the Covenant? And if you're the Vatican, why don't you have the Ark of the
Oh,
Covenant instead of a portrait of it?
I don't know. So much of this stuff doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, it's like I understand the whole. I am a conspiracy theorist in a lot of things, but there's a lot of conspiracy theories that I'm kind of like, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't. It's like it's got to answer the
Hmm.
question why. Why would they do some of this stuff? And I don't see any reason why that they would, if they had the ark, why they would hide it. If they had alien bodies, why are they in the Vatican? I mean, it doesn't make
It
any
does. It's
sense.
easy to say that it's in
Why?
there because there's only going to be five people in the entire history of the world that's going to be able to get into the archive anyway, and they're going to be busy
Right?
whacking it in the back anyway. So, so they're not even going to look at any of this stuff,
You're gonna have a whole lot of people converting to
right?
Catholicism after this podcast. They're gonna be all
They're
like,
going to
"Oh,
walk through the door and they'll be
wait a minute."
oh, the Holy Grail. Oh, that's great. Ark of the Covenant. Well, that's crap. Where's that hustler?
VaticanHub.com.
Vatican hub.
And I really, hey, I have nothing against
Yeah, me
Catholics,
neither. They're awesome.
right? So I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be, rude
Right.
about it. But I think that Catholicism is distinct from the
Correct.
Vatican
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
mind.
And this podcast by no means is meant to, hammer on Catholics or anything at all. This is just conspiracy theories, and we're just expanding on, what we're talking about. So,
Yeah, interesting stuff to think about though. So the evidence of the spaceship technology that's supposedly down there, that that I believe because that kind of stuff is in all kinds of historical religious documents. Like the Bhagavad Gita is a Hindu scripture, and it has drawings
mm,
of spaceships in it, and that's like what 6,000 years old or something like that. So I can totally believe. I personally believe that there was a civilization prior to what we have today, and it was very advanced. So very possible that the city of Atlantis
mm-hmm.
is not a myth. It's just buried under the ocean somewhere, and so it's very likely that there were some of these alien crafts, or maybe not alien crafts, maybe human crafts of whatever advanced civilization that we had back then that they talked about, they wrote about, they drew pictures of, paintings
Mm-hmm.
and all kinds of stuff in. And if that's the case, you just got to house it somewhere. And how about one of the biggest libraries on the planet? So that makes
Yeah, I
sense
agree.
that
That
they would
makes
have that kind of
out of
stuff.
all this, that makes the most sense,
The,
really.
the artifacts and stuff. I suppose if you've got a book that says there's a spaceship that looks like this, and somebody's aware that you have that book, and they find a spaceship that looks like that, okay, I suppose then that would make sense that they would have stuff like that down
Mm-hmm.
in the archives as well. But how do you, again, how do you get past the whole? You find a spaceship when you're digging a garden, and it's like I'm not going to call the police or my congressman. I'm going to
Right.
call the Pope.
Right.
I mean, how, that doesn't that doesn't really seem to make sense to me. That's a conspiracy theory that I just
Well, what's that show
I
on the
don't
History
know.
Channel or Discovery or something where those two guys go around the countryside in a white van and they try to buy all these artifacts, things to fix up and sell? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I
Yeah,
don't
they
think I've
they have
seen
like
it.
this
No.
home base where they have a store, and someone will call in and be like, "Hey, I know this guy down in Alabama that has 15 garages full of stuff that you need to go look for and search and pick what you want out of it." And they'll and they'll go in there and they'll spend, a day, couple days going through each garage, and something that's cool to know they can make money on, they'll offer the guy who owns it, a couple $100 or whatever. Then they'll take it and they'll fix it up, clean it, and put it up for sale again and make money. So maybe the Catholic
Hmm.
Church has like undercover priests going around looking for this stuff. Undercover pawn
Undercover
shop
pawn shop
priests.
priests.
Hey, if a show ever comes up like that, we have the rights to it, by the way. Uh, that they go around and say, hey, you
Uh,
know, we want that. Because how else is someone going to know to take
I'm
this thing to your local church?
okay. I got it. I've just been playing
Okay.
mental chess here, and I figured out how this happens. All right, so we know that Catholic Church does confessions, right? So somebody is digging in the back 40 of their property, and they find
Okay.
a spaceship buried back there. And they're like, I think I should keep this spaceship, and I'm going to keep it a secret. I'm going to use all the powers for myself. And then they're like convicted, and they're like, no, I can't. I've just sinned. So then they go to confession, and they tell the priest, Father, forgive me, I've sinned. I found a spaceship on the back 40 of my property, and I was going to use its power for myself. And the priest says, okay, your penance is to bring this to Vatican City and put
Hmm.
it in the archives.
Okay. Is that the 1 to 3 time
Got
frame?
it.
Because you got to do like a noon to 1 for lunch for the priest. Are artifacts 1 to 3?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so. I,
Well, I think
I
you got
think
something
so.
there, probably.
uh, yeah, that's the best I got.
It's either that or the undercover priest.
Yeah.
The two. It's got to be one of the two. It has to be. What else could it be?
Yeah. It's a toss up on that. They probably have both of
It's
them. I mean,
true. Yeah,
church
they
is
probably
pretty
do.
big, so they probably got those pawn shop priests out there.
Oh man. Okay. What else we got?
Okay, so this is if you haven't listened to us before, this is the
uh,
stupidest.
yeah.
This is the worst episode ever. So so
No,
so
just
don't judge
laugh.
us.
Move on.
Hey,
Right.
judge
It's
not
getting late.
lest
Maybe
ye
that's
be
what it is.
judged, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably what it
Well,
is,
all right.
yeah.
What else? Anything else to, I guess, wrap this up?
No, no, I don't think I don't think
What else
so.
is there? I
No,
mean, we
I
pretty
don't think
much
so.
covered it all
Um,
and more.
we pretty much did. Not just did we cover
Oh,
it
yeah,
all,
we did.
we
We
uncovered
did.
it all.
Well, so overall, I guess they say the Illuminati runs the archives. Basically, I guess we can end it with that, is that the Illuminati's running all this.
All right, so do you think the Illuminati's a thing
I kind of do think it's a
or
thing.
not? What kind
Well,
of a thing is it then?
I think there are people that, I don't know if they think themselves as part of the Illuminati or whatever, but like the Bilderberger group, stuff like that, you could probably classify that as some version
Mhm.
of the Illuminati, like a secret group who wants to control everything. And maybe the Illuminati is just like a generic name for a lot of that. Uh, but I think the only reason a group would want to run the archives would be there would be something important in there. I mean, why would people who want to run the world, just want the largest collection of porn? Right? That doesn't make sense either. Yeah.
Yeah, true, true. But it does make sense to me that if you are among those rich people like the Bilderbergers, what's that, like the
Yeah.
2,000 richest people on the planet, right? And if you're going to basically run the world, it kind of makes sense to have a foothold in a religion. So, because like religions seem to like make people, or I mean, if you're going to be an extremist, then you're going to probably be doing it for a greater cause, or at least a
Yeah.
greater cause to you. So religion is a good thing for that. So I guess if you're going to control the world and you want to control people, then having a foothold in a religion would probably be a good thing, but not just Catholicism. You'd want to also have a foothold in Islam, and you'd want to have a foothold in Buddhism, and
Mm-hmm.
all that other stuff as well.
Right.
I don't know. I think the Illuminati. I mean, some of that stuff. Like if you look at like the dollar bill and some of the stuff in Washington D.C., there's some pretty stout um, beliefs behind all that stuff. There's some symbolism behind it. Pretty hard to say that stuff doesn't exist. Now, what do you do with it? Is there like a 33rd degree Mason and stuff like that?
Well, do you do you think the Illuminati's around? I mean, do you believe in the Illuminati?
I do. I don't
Yeah.
really have any proof for it, other than that I tend to think that there are people that want power, and power gravitates to power, and so I think that it makes sense, but I don't really have any proof for it other than that. What was that? It's not Nick Nolte. Who was the dude in that Illuminati movie?
Oh,
Nick Nick
is he the guy
somebody.
that
What
played
the heck?
Ghost Rider?
I could see his face.
He doesn't really act much anymore. Kind of a lame actor. Nicholas Cage. Yeah.
Nicholas Cage. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah. I mean, other than he did a pretty
Yeah.
convincing job in that movie. All right. So thanks for listening to us this week, and please listen again. I mean, I don't know what happened here tonight, but we are now heard in over 721 rickshaws.
Holy, I can't believe that.
That's amazing.
We are.
That is amazing.
We love our
Is this
listeners.
the pedal kind, or the kind that they just pick up and run with?
I think it's like 70-30.
Oi, oi. We can't say how thankful we are, and we love all of our listeners in all of the rickshaws. Please call our voicemail line at 970-343-4594 to submit questions or comments, or go to ourdifferenttake.com, which is under construction, or just go to our Facebook group page called ODT Nation. Follow us on Instagram at Our Different Take. Send us your comments, suggestions, complaints, questions, or spam to show@ourdifferenttake.com. We will not be posting new episodes on the website, but you still can get the episodes from just about anywhere. So they're all on Spotify, and heck, we might put them up on Facebook sometime. I don't know. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and look for us wherever you get your podcasts from. We also have a YouTube channel called Our Different Take. Please subscribe. Click on the little bell so that you'll be alerted when a new podcast is released. And we are allowed release, unlike what we're talking about tonight, where some people are not allowed release. Just remember, question everything.
Peace.
Peace out.
A 3, a 2, and a 1.
Let's do this. Tacos El Gordo.
It's weird that when you're driving, your body like doesn't know it needs to take a dump or anything.
You think 6 and 7 inches is a lot, do you?
For your butt, it is.
Oh man, those Swiss guards would probably spank you.
It's not like a street taco turd.
God,
Welcome to your day, turd.
Break dancing across the bus with the post office stuff.
Not my butt. With a diaper on.
Ooh.
Colostomy bag. Look at your thing on the Pope's secretions.
Seriously?
Poop bag.
Seriously?
Remember when we were all excited to get that Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition?
Remember when we were all excited to get that JCPenney catalog?
Poop bag. Man, that's a nice set of pans and pots and pans.
Not dead yet.
What does
Seriously?
All right, well, let's try that again.
What the hell is wrong with these people, man?